Good afternoon, folks. Well, the lovely weather's finally creeping upon us. It's, ride season is, well, pretty much here. The rides are starting to get booked and lined up. So it's a good time to tackle just some preventative maintenance, and that'll be the diffs, the oil, transmission, and I'm going to go ahead and add in spark plugs. I'm not going to dive too much into the diffs or the tranny or anything. That's been covered ad nauseum on YouTube. So I just figured that I couldn't find much on the spark plugs. And since I have to take the cargo out anyways to get at the top of the motor for the oil fill, well, the spark plugs are right there. So vehicle having over 3,000 kilometers now, let's do them. Then it's running tip top for the whole season. Quick tidbit, I won't get, like I said, into diff changes, but should know this by now. But on your drain plug, it is magnetized. That one's pretty prevalent. You can see the magnet right there. Have a check, see if you see any large filings or anything that's of concern that would indicate potentially a future catastrophic failure. There will be something on it. Obviously, it's moving parts, metal on metal gears, so you're going to have some filings. That's normal, so don't freak out. But mainly talking about large chunks or anything like that. But luckily, my fluid was still in pretty good shape. We've been in some mucky crap and lots of water crossings, so I'm pretty glad to see that. Anyways, the real reason that I kind of thought, hey, I'll queue up a vid on this. Well, here we have a nice brown Amazon box, and that could mean anything really, but we are going to look at some Ihaho 3-foot whips, or Aho on the res. All right, so yes, just a nice 3-foot whip. Initially, I had no thoughts on whips one way or the other, but recently been out on no less than 2 night rides in the last 4 weeks, and let me tell you, they make it really easy to spot your group. They actually do throw off quite a bit of light in the rear of the vehicle, so that's a bonus. And, the ultimate reason, obviously, being they're cool as hell. So that's, I don't have any rear lights anyways or chase lights, so this kind of covers all that base. And with this particular model, I have the, there we go. We have the spot for them right there. So it's, again, the cargo had to come out anyway, so perfect time to route wiring and that sort of thing. So I will kind of just periodically check in on the spark plug end of things because, again, I couldn't find anything on YouTube about that. But, so get your maintenance done. It'll last forever with proper maintenance. And, it's good to do. This will set you up for the whole season. So anyways, we'll get these whips on there and be part of the cool kid crowd. Cheers. One thing real quick, as I mentioned, I got to take the cargo out anyways, but I don't carry a whole heap in the cargo. This isn't like an overlanding machine or anything like that, or that's not what I use it for. So needless to say, I got recovery gear in the bag here. I might look into making that a harder case, something like that. I don't know, but this works for now. It's got straps. Tube kit, plug kit for tires, first aid kit. I do carry a spare belt. It's an older used belt, but it's there. Might get me out of the bush or something. But I don't know. Cargo may be a whole different video on itself, what you bring. I don't bring a whole heap of tools either. This isn't something that, a little ratchet set probably wouldn't get me out of the woods with if I had a catastrophic failure on this machine. It's got a lot of larger parts on it. But anyways, not to tail off, Hey, what do you bring? I don't know. Everybody brings different things. Besides your cooler, I mean, wink, wink. All right. Well, back to the diff changes, and we'll get into the lights. Once I get on there. Just wanted to toss in one quick little tidbit on the whips. Turns out I didn't even realize, but they're quick connect. So that's pretty neat. I don't really know when you might want to disconnect them. Maybe you have a trailer you have to get into. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, it's probably a quick breakaway point as well. But anyway, pretty neat. And again, I'll flash up the Amazon ad there right now. And yeah, $130. Again, why dump $400, $500, $600 into a set of whips when they're probably easily one of the most things, or easily going to be one of the things that are hit the most, because they're going to protrude above the machine and that sort of thing. So I figured, hey, for 100 and change, if you get a couple seasons out of them and I got to replace them, then so be it. But seems to be good reviews and stuff like that. So anyways, just a quick little note on the whips and the fact that they were quick release. And while the front's draining, again, I'm not going to dwell on the diff change, but the one of the first videos I made was on the Rough Country winch to Polaris bumper, and go back and have a peek at that. But anyways, the question now has been answered. Was that worth it? And whether that process was worth it, maybe not. But having a winch in general, 100%. If your machine does not have a winch on it, get one ASAP. No word of a lie. I've used that. I think we've been out 4 times since March, 4 times since January, and I've used it every single time. So a couple times for myself, and other times for other people I was with, and man, Rough Country 6,500-pound winch just does the job. That thing will pull a tank, and worked great. So just wanted to have a tidbit of that. One thing I didn't mention in that, while I'm right here anyways, was the wiring. When you buy a Polaris product, it comes already pre-wired with the harness and everything, but I brought the winch wire up around back here, looped it around behind the frame so it has no possible way to even come close to the shock assembly, and then put the solenoid right in the factory spot where Polaris puts theirs. So I thought, hey, if they think it's safe enough, I do too. And then obviously from there went into the firewall. But that was a little tidbit I did not include in the in that install video. But must have. If your first upgrade or product you buy is anything and you don't have it, get a winch. So I can't stress that enough. So anyways, onward. All right, took the cargo box out, and that got the trunk out. I will say this much for Polaris: they made it pretty easy. There's only 4 bolts that hold that trunk bed in, and then boom, you're fully exposed to the top of the motor, which is nice. The oil fill right there, and my spark plugs will be right along there. Just pop those coils off. Very similar to new vehicles these days, passenger vehicles. So yeah, easy peasy. I shouldn't have said that, but anyways, we'll check back in once I get them out. Just a quick pop back in on the spark plug portion of this maintenance. These are your typical wire harness with each different connector going to each coil for each cylinder. I went ahead and unhooked them all, just to make it easier. These were, each successive one had a reinforcement by going over the stud on the next one, so that held it all in place. But really impossible to connect them wrong because there's only so much wire for each one, so it makes life easier just to disconnect them all. Then I will proceed to remove the coils and go from there and replace the plugs. Quick little tidbit on engineering that thing, make it go those are 10 mil, and that very first cylinder looks like an 8. Like, why would they do that? Anyways, head scratcher. Check back in once the plugs are done. All right, so 4 plugs removed, 4 new plugs put in, coils back on, and all the wiring harnesses plugged back in. That's pretty easy, idiot proof, thank God for me. And yeah, so we're onward to finish doing the tranny fluid there, and then we're on to the whips. So yeah, I'm hoping that we can get the wiring at least routed tonight and all that sort of thing, and the base is mounted. So away we go. So this little piece I was interested in, one of our buddies, Shane, as well, who you'll meet in a future video this weekend, I think. Anyways, so this was the old air filter, obviously pretty dirty. I think that would have been white paper for the filter material, so I don't think that is dirt compared to the new blue one. But I'm going to just give it a quick little shot with the, you don't even have to do it with the compressor. I don't know if you're catching that. Yeah, I think you can see the dust flying off that just by shaking it. So yeah, well, there you go. Anyways, yeah, so to answer that question, that poor bugger was probably pretty clogged, I would assume so, just by that indication. So the new one should, man, that should really help the old motor breathe a lot better. So anyways, there we are. All right, one of the first things you got to do with any kind of electrical powered addition to your rig is find a home for what most likely, especially with LED stuff, is going to be the solenoid. This particular whip setup was equipped with, it's called like the road legal kit. So those are the left turn, right turn, brake lights, and reverse lights. I'm not wiring it for that at all, so I just tape that off, and I will store that once I'm done. And then really basic wiring, power and ground, that's it. And then you obviously are going to have the rocker switch on the dash once I get to that point. But needless to say, you got to find a home for this. So with these razors, this Pro R specifically, space is always an issue for those. So I also did not want to have to splice the connector wires that go to each whip. The whips were quick connect design, so these will mate with the male end on the whip. And then, so I didn't want to have to splice those wires. They didn't give you maybe 8 feet or something, so wouldn't have been enough to go from the dash if I'd put the solenoid under the dash. So needless to say, that's where that is. I rigged up garage hoarders. I had a bracket laying around, just a little metal bracket. I rigged that up so I had something to mount the solenoid on. So, you know, everybody's going to do that different as well, but that way, easy to get at, because this rear plastic panel is very quick to unhook and get out of the way to get at your air box and everything. So that will be really accessible. And well, heck, might need that bracket for something else, who knows. But now there's a nice little mounting bracket there. I used a frame bolt on the one end. You can see it under the wires there. And yeah, so that will be nice and sturdy and good to go. So now I'm just going to route the wires using a path that exists from the stock wiring harness back to each tail light. So I will just pony up with those, and I should be fairly quick on that end of things. And then it's just getting power to this beast and putting the rocker in, and which is pretty easy again. It's all under there on the bus bar. So, all right, here we go. Okay, as is often the case, things with, you know, installation of accessories and whatnot sometimes escalates. And, you know, what should be something simple can sometimes get a little out of hand. Now, that being said, I am trying to, maybe this is an age thing or what have you, but I try to do these things nowadays as clean as possible, routing the wires in a way that is A, hidden, but also B, protected, you know, from moving parts, yourself, your boots, your clothing. You're getting in and out of the vehicle a lot, so you don't want it anywhere near anything like that. So, well, that means you gotta take the center console out a little bit and get your hands right in there and get dirty. Anybody who knows me, and if you the channel survives long enough, you'll get to know that I absolutely detest the wiring part of these things, only because of this reason, and because I've got my OCD about hiding the wires. You tend to have to get more work involved to get to the darn issues than you know, it takes to actually just plug and play. Anyway, long story short, sometimes it gets like that, but the moral of this little tidbit here is you will definitely get to know your machine really, really quick, which is a huge bonus for those of you who want to learn how to do a little DIY, or just you might have to, you know, get into it on the trail or something. So this will help you get to know the inner workings of your machine. And actually, these are the newer ones anyways, are pretty well put together, so you can just remove panels here and there, get at it quick. But this is a good learning experience, so, you know, take the good with the bad, I guess. But I'll get this wire routed. My on the Polaris, it's pretty easy. It's right under the glove box. There's the bus bar. You see a few things already plugged in there, winch lights, that sort of thing. So I just got to run it up through there, do my connections. I'll put the rocker in right beside the other light bar switch, and yeah, we'll be off to the races. We're on the home stretch here now. But I just wanted to mention the fact that doing it yourself, you know, take the time, do it the way you want it, the way you'd want it done if you were taking it somewhere to pay for it. So yeah, and it'll help you learn your machine a lot easier. All right, I got the wiring all hooked up and everything, ready for a test run. Fingers crossed everything works. I got the lights low for effect, of course. So let's turn the key and see what we got. Oh yeah. That is wicked. The rocker switch was on, but it does work. So I can shut them off or on. That's pretty slick. I dig it. They got the remote. I'll download the app for controls, but I don't mind it just doing its thing there. I like the multicolored aspect. And again, they're spring bases, so they should hold up rather well and offer lots of light out the back. Nobody's gonna miss me now. Right on. Well, one final check-in here on the whip light install and the seasonal maintenance video. So everything's back together. As you can see, seats are in and everything. I just went for a little run around the block to double check, and everything's fine. So a quick little shot of the finished product on the switch panel, which again, I don't believe I showed. My fault for not showing that at the end of the winch and light bar install, but there it is, all set up nice. And the wires ran through the center console underneath and out the back, as I showed earlier. And just getting everything buttoned up for a run tomorrow. So we're getting ready to load up. And yeah, so it should be fun. But the whips went in perfectly on the factory mounts. Was able to hide the wires nicely. You got to leave a little bit of slack because these are quick connect if you do want to take them off. So there's a little bit of slack there. And side note, do account for the bend. So leave enough enough slack so that these can bend if needed, if you run into some low bridges, shall we say. So I'm getting the cargo bed back in, and then we'll be loading. So yeah, man, awesome. I really like them. They work great so far. I mean, it's only been a day, so we'll see. Can't give a solid review on the product just at this point, but anyways, the install went well. Quite happy with it. And yeah, we're gonna load up and get ready to go to Greens Mountain. And yes, I do need a step even at 6 foot tall, because this thing is a beast at the back. So yeah, anyways, cheers. We'll see you on the trails, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and Res Riders, let's go.